In the quiet spaces between your thoughts, something ancient is speaking to you. Not in words, not in logic, but in signals so subtle, so mysterious, they escape the mind's grasp yet stir the heart with undeniable certainty. You have felt it before. That sudden pull to turn left instead of right. That unexplainable knowing when someone's smile hides sorrow. That electric sense of alignment when you walk into a room and feel destiny waiting. This is not coincidence. It is not imagination. It is your intuition. The silent compass wired into the very fabric of your being, whispering to you through quantum signals that ripple beneath the veil of physical reality. Pause here. Breathe. Let this sink in. Because what I'm about to tell you is not just a story of instinct. It is the story of how the universe itself has woven strands of awareness into your cells, guiding you through the infinite complexity of life, with a force that science is only beginning to glimpse. Neuroscience tells us the body processes more information than your conscious mind could ever hold. Billions of signals rush through your nervous system every second, creating a vast ocean of unseen awareness. But beneath the biology lies something deeper. An intelligence that does not come from your brain alone. Quantum physics suggests that particles can sense one another beyond time and space, communicating in patterns that defy logic, yet remain precise and ordered. Your intuition is born in that space. It is the meeting point between biology and cosmos. It is the echo of your consciousness entangled with the infinite. Think of it like this: every choice you make, every path you walk, collapses countless probabilities into form. But intuition is the signal, the faint vibration, that guides you toward the path where your highest self is already waiting. It is as if the future is sending whispers back to the present, urging you to step into alignment before the mind even understands why. This is why sometimes you feel a nudge to call someone, and you find they desperately needed to hear your voice. This is why you sense danger before it arrives, or opportunity before it reveals itself. It is not magic, it is resonance. Your intuition tuning itself to the quantum field of possibilities, pulling threads of tomorrow into the fabric of today. Close your eyes for a moment and imagine this: your heart beating not just as a biological pump, but as a drum of coherence, sensing you with invisible patterns all around. Your body acting as an antenna, transmitting and receiving subtle information from the field of consciousness that breathes life into all things. Every cell vibrating like a star in miniature, listening, waiting, guiding. And so, when you doubt yourself, when you silence that inner knowing because it doesn't fit the logic of the world, you are turning away from the very compass that has always been connected to the map of your destiny. But here is the truth you must hear: your intuition is not fragile. It is not fleeting. It is eternal, and it is precise. The only question is whether you will learn to trust it. Take a breath. Feel the space around you. Notice the subtle currents moving through your awareness even now. This is not imagination. This is your entry point into the deeper conversation of existence. Listen carefully. Intuition does not shout. It does not argue. It speaks in a language older than words, a language written in sensations, symbols, and subtle signals that flicker like sparks within your awareness. Have you noticed how truth rarely arrives as a sentence in your mind, but as a feeling in your body, a tightening in the chest, a warmth in the belly, a sudden stillness in the breath? These are not random. They are the way your body translates the invisible dialogue between your soul and the quantum field. Science calls it interoception, the body's ability to sense its inner states. But beneath this biology is a deeper mystery. Why do these sensations so often reveal truths your rational mind has not yet discovered? Why does your heart race seconds before danger enters the room? Why does a wave of peace wash over you just before you make the decision that changes everything? Because the body is more than matter. It is an instrument of perception. Every nerve ending is like a tuning fork, vibrating with the frequencies of the unseen. Every cell is listening to a conversation between you and the universe. Quantum physics has shown us that reality is not solid, but fluid, a vast field of probabilities collapsing into form. And here is the secret: your intuition is the receiver, the decoder of those collapsing waves. It does not calculate, it does not reason, it feels. And feeling is faster than thought. Think of a time you ignored your intuition. You heard the whisper, but logic convinced you otherwise. Later, when events unfolded, you realized the whisper was right all along. That sting you felt, it wasn't regret. It was recognition. The recognition that you had glimpsed truth before truth revealed itself. This is the power of quantum signals. They arrive not as thunder, but as tremors beneath the surface. And when you learn to attune yourself to them, you begin to move differently in the world. You walk not with hesitation, but with a quiet confidence, because you are listening to the undercurrent of reality itself. Imagine you are standing before two doors. One leads to a future of expansion, the other to stagnation. Your mind will weigh the pros and cons endlessly, looping in logic. But your intuition, it already knows. It sends a spark, a shiver, a sense of lightness toward one path and heaviness toward the other. This is the language you must learn. Not the language of fear, not the language of doubt, but the language of resonance. When something resonates, it feels alive, expansive. When it does not, it feels contracted, closed, heavy. The signal is simple, yet profound. Life flows where resonance lives. And here is the paradox. The more you chase certainty with your mind, the less you hear these signals. But when you soften, when you become still, when you release the need to control, the whispers rise to the surface like stars appearing in a dark sky. So ask yourself now, how many signals have you ignored today? How many whispers slipped through the cracks of your racing mind? And what might happen if, from this moment forward, you began to honor them? The world would change. Not outside of you, but through you. Your choices would align, your timing would sharpen, and reality itself would bend toward your deepest truth. If this resonates, share it in the comments. It helps this message reach more seekers, and it reminds you that you are not walking this path alone. Pause. Breathe. Feel the truth of this in your bones. Your intuition is not a guest in your life. It is the guide you've been waiting for. Have you ever wondered why intuition feels like remembering the future? That strange familiarity, as if you are not discovering something new, but recalling something your soul already knew. This is because time does not flow as the mind believes, linear, rigid, one-directional. No, time is fluid. It bends, it folds, it loops back upon itself in ways that science is only beginning to glimpse. Quantum physics reveals this mystery in particles that influence each other across distance, across time, as if bound by an unseen thread. Entanglement, non-locality, the collapse of probability into form. And you, yes you, are entangled with your own future. Your intuition is the evidence. When you feel that inexplicable pull toward a decision, it is not chance. It is the future you, whispering across the fabric of possibility, guiding you toward alignment with what you are destined to become. It is déjà vu, not as a glitch in perception, but as a reminder that you have touched this reality before, in dream, in thought, in energy. Think of the times you followed your intuition, and everything unfolded with impossible precision. The right person at the right time, the right door opening as if the universe had been waiting for you to knock. Coincidence? No, it was the timeline of your highest self weaving itself into the present. Intuition is the thread. It pulls you through the labyrinth of infinite outcomes, toward the doorway where destiny waits. Ignore it, and you wander endlessly in circles. Follow it, and life becomes less about struggle, more about flow. This is not about predicting the future. It is about remembering the version of you who already exists in that future. A self who has already walked through fire. A self who has already chosen courage. A self who already carries the wisdom you now seek. Close your eyes. Imagine this self standing before you, their eyes steady, their heart clear. They are you, but expanded, elevated, whole, and through the silence, they whisper, "Come. I am waiting. I am already you." This is the essence of intuition. It is not irrational. It is supra-rational. It is the quantum handshake between who you are and who you are becoming. And here is the wonder: every time you trust this signal, you collapse the distance between your present self and your future self. You shorten the space between vision and reality. You live, not in anticipation, but in embodiment. Pause here. Let this truth settle into your bones. Your intuition is not just guiding you forward, it is pulling you home. So the next time you feel that quiet nudge, do not ask, "What if I'm wrong?" Instead, ask, "What if this is my future self, already reaching out to guide me?" Because it is. It always is. And once you begin to live this way, you discover a strange and luminous confidence. Not because you know every step, but because you trust the thread. You trust the signal. You trust the self who already stands in the light beyond the maze. If you are listening closely, you will notice something stirring within you right now. A memory that feels like a possibility that feels like a memory. That is intuition. That is the bridge. That is you. You may not realize it, but your body is not just flesh and bone. It is a living antenna, finely tuned to the currents of reality that flow beneath the visible world. Every hair, every nerve ending, every pulse of your heartbeat is a receiver of signals. Signals that move faster than thought, faster than light, faster than anything your rational mind can contain. This is why intuition does not arrive as a process of thinking, but as a flash, a feeling, a surge of knowing. Your skin tingles when you step into a room charged with unseen energy. Your stomach tightens before the wrong decision. Your chest expands when your soul recognizes truth. These are not coincidences. They are translations. Your biology decoding the language of the quantum field. Science tells us the heart emits an electromagnetic field measurable several feet beyond the body. But what if it extends even further? What if your heart is not just a pump, but a beacon, sensing with the rhythms of reality, like a drum aligning with the pulse of creation itself? When you fall silent, when you breathe deeply, and let the noise fade, you begin to feel it. The subtle hum, the resonance, the way your body vibrates with answers you cannot explain. This is intuition, not as a thought, but as a frequency. Imagine your body as a tuning fork placed within the vast symphony of the universe. Every choice, every moment is a note. And when you are attuned, when you are listening, you begin to hear harmony. You begin to sense which paths sing with truth and which fall into dissonance. This is why intuition is not random. It is resonance. It is your cells, your breath, your very heartbeat responding to the vibrations of the path that aligns with your essence. Think of animals sensing earthquakes before they arrive, birds shifting direction before storms form, mothers knowing when their children are in danger across great distances. This is not magic. It is biology wedded to quantum intelligence. It is instinct elevated to the level of consciousness. And here lies the great secret. Your intuition sharpens when you honor your body. When you rest, when you nourish, when you breathe deeply, when you move in rhythm with nature, your antenna clears. But when you ignore it, when you drown it in noise, numb it with distractions, or bury it under fear, the signal grows faint. So the practice is not to force intuition. The practice is to tune, to soften, to clear the static, to become still enough to hear what has always been speaking. Right now, as you listen, notice your own body, the subtle sensations rising as these words flow into you. That is not coincidence. That is your own antenna resonating with the signal of truth. And when you begin to live this way, life changes. Decisions feel less like battles. The right people appear at the right time. The noise fades, and a deeper music begins to play. And you begin to dance with it. Pause here. Feel your heartbeat. Notice your breath. That is your compass. That is your antenna. That is your signal. There is a place inside you that rarely sees the light of your attention. It is the silence between thoughts, the stillness beneath the noise, the gap where your intuition speaks most clearly. But you miss it. Because the mind is loud. It shouts in analysis, in fear, in endless questions. It believes it is the master, yet it is only the interpreter. Your intuition does not need to explain. It does not justify or rationalize. It simply knows. And this knowing arises most powerfully when the mind grows quiet. Think of the moments when answers came to you in the shower, on a quiet walk, in the half-asleep haze of dawn. Why there? Because your mind loosened its grip, leaving space for the deeper intelligence within you to rise. The signal was always present, but only in stillness could you finally hear it. Ancient mystics understood this. They entered caves, deserts, temples, not to escape the world but to tune to its deeper frequencies. They knew the sacred truth: silence is not the absence of sound. It is the presence of clarity. It is the doorway to intuition. Modern neuroscience confirms what they sensed. When brainwaves slow, when the nervous system softens, the brain enters states where creativity, intuition, and insight ignite. In those spaces, the boundaries of self loosen, and you become more receptive to subtle information from both within and beyond. The silence between thoughts is not empty, it is full of whispers, signals, visions, guidance, full of the map your intuition is trying to hand you. But here is the paradox: you cannot force this silence. You cannot chase it with effort. You must surrender into it, like a leaf drifting on water, like a flame leaning into the wind. Right now, as you listen, soften your breath. Let a pause exist between the inhale and the exhale. In that pause, notice what arises. Perhaps a memory, perhaps a sensation, perhaps nothing at all, yet somehow it feels like everything. This is the entryway. This is how your intuition begins to speak. And when you practice listening in these gaps, something extraordinary begins to unfold. Life becomes less like a storm of chaos and more like a river carrying you with grace. Not because challenges vanish, but because you sense how to move with them. You feel the subtle currents. You know when to step forward and when to wait. You no longer fight the tide, you surf it. Silence is not weakness, it is alignment, and alignment is power. So when the world overwhelms you with noise, remember, the answers you seek are not out there. They are already within you, waiting in the stillness, calling you back to the place where thought cannot reach but truth already lives. Pause. Close your eyes for a heartbeat. Can you feel it? That subtle hum beneath everything. That is your intuition. That is your guide. Every time your intuition speaks, a choice rises with it. Not just a choice of action, but a choice of allegiance. Will you trust the whisper, or will you bow to fear? This is the dance that defines human experience. On one side, the unknown, vast, uncertain, luminous with possibility. On the other, the familiar, predictable, safe, wrapped in the logic of the mind. And yet you already know which one carries your expansion. The whisper never points to comfort. It points to growth. It calls you to leap before you see the net, to walk before the bridge appears, to step into the dark knowing light will meet you there. Fear will try to hold you back. It will shout louder than intuition ever will. Because fear is of the mind, and the mind is built for survival. It wants evidence. It wants guarantees. But intuition does not deal in guarantees. It deals in alignment. Think of the moments you trusted your inner knowing, even when it made no sense. You moved cities. You ended a relationship. You started a project no one believed in. And though the path was uncertain, doors opened. Support appeared. A strange and luminous order unfolded around you. This is how intuition works. Not as a promise of ease, but as a map of truth. And truth always carries you into the life you were meant to live. But here is the secret: fear will always be there. It does not vanish. It does not dissolve. It waits at the edge of every threshold, and that is not failure. That is proof you are standing at the gateway of transformation. So the question is not, how do I silence fear? The question is, how do I listen anyway? Because each time you choose trust over fear, something within you expands. The signal grows louder, the path grows clearer, and your future self smiles, knowing you are walking toward them at last. Pause here. Reflect on the last time you ignored your intuition out of fear. What did it cost you? And now, reflect on the last time you trusted it. What did it give you? This is the dance, and each choice writes the rhythm of your life. Trust is not blind. Trust is vision beyond the eyes. It is the courage to say, I do not see the whole picture, but I know the next step belongs to me. And when you take that step, the path unfolds. Always. If you carry nothing else from these words, carry this: fear keeps you where you are. Intuition carries you where you are meant to be. The choice is yours, every moment, every breath. So listen now, deeply, quietly. What whisper is rising in you at this very moment? What step is your intuition asking you to take? Even as fear tries to hold you still, the answer is already here. All that remains is trust. A visual suggestion. A figure standing at the edge of a high cliff at sunrise. Behind them, shadows of fear whisper and claw, but before them, a golden path of light stretches across the sky. The figure steps forward, and the path solidifies beneath their feet as they walk. What if I told you this moment is not the end, but the beginning of an infinite conversation, a dialogue between you and the universe, unfolding in whispers, symbols, and synchronicities? Your intuition is not a tool you sometimes use. It is the thread weaving every breath, every choice, every encounter. It has always been here, guiding, shaping, aligning, waiting for you to listen. When you honor it, the world responds. You notice the right book falling into your hands at the right time. A stranger's words carry the answer you silently prayed for. The sky, the wind, the rhythm of your own heartbeat, all become messages in the great language of resonance. This is not coincidence. This is coherence. You, tuning to the quantum field of infinite possibility until the entire universe feels alive with guidance. And so the question is no longer, does my intuition work? The question is, am I willing to live as if the signals are sacred? Because when you do, reality shifts, fear loses its grip, time bends in your favor, and life becomes less about control, more about communion. Every step becomes a prayer, every decision a doorway, every moment an echo of the infinite calling you home. Pause here, breathe, feel this truth in your chest. You are not wandering aimlessly. You are being guided, carried, drawn by an intelligence older than the stars and closer than your own pulse. Your future self is whispering. Your body is listening. The universe is responding, and your intuition is the bridge that unites them all. The journey does not end here. This is only the threshold. From this moment forward, let the whispers be louder than the noise. Let the signals guide you, even when the path is dark. And remember, you were never meant to walk blindly. The compass has always been within you, so trust it, follow it, and step boldly into the life that has been waiting for you all along. Because the truth is simple, and it has been waiting patiently for you to hear it. You are not learning to listen to intuition. You are remembering that you always have.